This is going to be good for people who already run BI and also those that are actually thinking about implementing a reporting solution.
Tony's going to really touch on high level, what is BI to us as a team at IQ? And I'm going to provide a brief product update. We transitioned from the product from a previous platform to something brand new. We're just going to breeze through what that's meant to us as an organization. And then from there, move on to some new product highlights. The presentation today is going to move through a combination of new product, what we're launching in the version. Tony's going to really be moving through the new product additions for you, new visualizations, new standard reporting. And then I'm going to break things up with some customer success stories. Biggest thing we get asked as a product team is how are customers successful in the reporting strategy? So what we pulled together are really some suggested ideas that we've seen being used in the field. And we're just going to highlight those. Some of you were really nice to provide some actual life examples to share today. So what I'm going to do is just breeze through some of those, show them as examples, give you guys something that you could maybe introduce this year, touch on those. Then we're going to move on to some new additions on the data side of things. And then also, a lot of you have already seen that we can now build in Excel. We're going to look at that. Again, those of you that haven't seen, we're launching the ability to connect and build from within Excel. And then Tony's going to close things off with product library additions. So we have a really action-packed agenda today. So we'll try and keep things lively and exciting. And that's going to be pretty much the agenda for the session today.
Cool. Thanks, Sarah. So why BI? You guys probably saw me talk about this in the keynote, but I'm going to tell you about it again anyway, just to frame what we're trying to do here. So every day in our queue and other things as well, we're doing our daily business and collecting a whole bunch of data. So sales, everything. You guys know that. And essentially, it gives us reporting. And in BI, that gives us strategic knowledge to actually make decisions, right? So you're looking at reports, you're getting a big picture, and you can start to see patterns that you may want to change or even improve, right? And the ecosystem of the actual product itself kind of has two quadrants. There's the standard reports and visualizations, the designy stuff that we actually include in the product. And on the right side, there's the stuff you guys build yourself, so custom reporting, and that's inside the BI environment, and also ad hoc reporting as well, and that's basically addressed by Excel, our new connection to Excel. So it's all driven in the center by data, obviously. So quick product update.
All right. So many of you were using our old platform, and we've moved on to something brand new. What we were looking for when we transitioned product was something that would allow you guys to expand reach of BI throughout your organizations and take reporting really down all the way to the employee level. We launched a lot of brand new features. So what I'm going to do is just breeze through really quickly for the people that are new to the product in the room, highlights of the new features. It was really important that we made the product web-based. All of us are in the field now, on our tablets, on our phones. The product, for those of you that don't know, is fully web-based. It's mobile. It's accessible anywhere. Any report that you build is available on your device and essentially acts as a web link. For those of you that are new customers, when you create a subscription, essentially what that means is once you subscribe the report and send it to yourself and have that link is essentially a web access link that you can view anywhere.
So it's good to note actually out there on the floor, we have it running on an iPad, and it could be Android or Windows tablet or whatever. But if you want, go take a look at it, because they actually look really good and it's really clear. You can zoom in and out. So it actually works really well on tablets.
So cross-browser access, accessible anywhere on any device, has really made the product accessible for your teams. The reports that you need are really in the hands of the people who need them, and taking me to my next point, when they need. So people have the ability now to have the reports both exportable in any Windows platform, but also the ability to subscribe reports and then have those emailed in a subscription delivery is now part of the product. So subscription-based email delivery means that we can send people the reports they need, but then also have them sent at the times that they need. So what that means, guys, is not only do we have the reports being sent, but they're sent, before the 8 o'clock meeting in the morning and available when we're sitting around going through our numbers, right? So the timeliness of information matters. In the new product, we also provided enhancements to report building. Part of this summit release, we continue to build upon that with Excel being offered as part of our platform. So in our current product offering, which is reporting services, there's a lot of great new enhancements. You can build graphs, gauges, table-based reporting, but now in the new product, you also now can build from within Excel. The biggest thing to note here is visualizations matter to your teams. So we're taking that into account here with the product offering, and just know that you guys can add those to your reports. And that takes us over to Tony here to talk on some of the visualizations that we added in to the version that you guys can use in your reports.
So again, you saw this stuff kind of briefly yesterday, but a little bit more detail, but again, out there, then we can actually really show you how everything works. So visualizing data. Basically, what we've been doing is trying to create a lot of design patterns that you guys can reuse. So we actually create design patterns that we put in our standard reports, but because you can actually open up standard reports and save them as your own, you can actually use those as inspiration to create your own reports if you're doing custom reporting as well. So that's good to note. So anything you see in there, like our calendar heat maps, which I'll show you in a second, if you want to use those, we're going to make those available for you to use, and you can apply it to a lot of different things. So for instance here, this is what we saw yesterday, and again, this can be run for 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, or a whole year. But if you want to know how much hours were punched in daily, you could run it on a visualization like this, and you could actually see a pattern of, where you have a lot of hours punched in. We could do sales on this, profit, all different types of measures can actually be applied to things like this. So this is an example of the stuff we're building, but keep in mind that the report builder itself, the environment, has charts and tables and maps that you guys can include in there as well. So maps again, this was actually created in the tool. I made a mock for a heat map across the United States to show sales, and Andrew, our developer, just pulled the map in using Report Builder. So you guys can do this as well, and again, you can reuse what we've done. And I just threw this up there to show context. So here's a location summary. What we're doing is trying to integrate with IQ Metrics maps, which I'm sure you guys have seen already. So again, we want to be able, if you see a map, you can click on it, and it opens that up contextually inside of IQ Metrics maps. So we're trying to connect everything together. Yeah,
and you're going to actually see one of our reports already, the location report. We've already introduced this concept. So what that means, just to hit home with that idea, is you'll be able to click on one of our location-based reports in a summary view, and it's going to pop you over to our new IQ Metrics maps in the detail context of your location. So this is huge for you guys. Does that make sense, everybody? Like, that means I know that this store on that map, in that picture, has a high performance because it's darker. I click on it, and then that takes me over to that exciting new maps feature we're launching. And it tells me the details of that store's performance and say the detail pertaining to location customers. Where are those customers coming from? And I can start to answer the granular questions I need of performance pertaining to that store. So we're starting to integrate these different components in a really usable way. To touch one point on what Tony said about visualizations, he mentioned this, but they're all reusable. So we're trying to make this easy so that you guys don't have to build these things yourself. You'll be able to open up the reports that we build and introduce these components into your own reports that you build within the tool as well.
Yeah.
Because visualizations are really important. They make interpreting the data that's meaningful for you much easier on your teams.
So if you have the product, take a look at our standard reports and you go, hey, this is pretty useful. just know that you can save that again and use it in your own reports, right? So we're opening all this stuff up to you guys to use. So new standard reports. I know we don't have a lot of time, so I'll breeze through it again out there. We've been building standard reports, but we want to keep closing that loop and making it more of an experience. So we're looking at things to link up because it's the web, right? You're on the web, you click a link and you go somewhere else and get more information. So you journey through your data, basically. So we're starting off with employee location and product. Whenever you see any one of these things in any one of our reports, you click on it and you get a dashboard like that. So for instance, we're looking at a bunch of employees. Someone's doing really well, click on it, let's find out what this guy is doing well or poorly, for instance. So we have here high-level information, where they work. We have links to the locations that they work at, HR data, and overall performance stuff. So are they refunding? Are they discounting? How many customers have they served? You know, this is cool stuff. And again, you can reuse this, right? Here's a location. Again, same concept. If you see a location, you click on it, boom, you get a big dashboard, right? So there's our map at the top to give you context. You click on this, you go to IQ Metrics Maps. So see how everything connects together here? We have trending over 2 years. We can see our sales to our costs. So you want that cost to sort of follow the sales. If you see them interconnecting, you know that something's going wrong there. So really what we're trying to do is show things in context and give you an overall picture of how things are working, right? This can be run for a region, a district, or an actual location. And at the bottom of it, you can see here, we'll actually break it down for you. So which locations are doing well inside of a district. Pretty cool, right?
And just to touch on, as a product team, strategically, with the standard reports, Tony, right? The plan with the project overall is just to focus on those things that are the retail expected things and allow you guys to give us input on what's important to you. So think about these things like similarly how you might think of an RQ4 feature, and lean on us and your CSMs, your account managers, give us input on what you'd like to see in the product, and put the focus on the business-specific things, the carrier-specific things, and just know that you can expect these things to be part of the product and just be usable for you as part of the solution.
Yeah, we don't want to build these just for fun. We want to solve you guys' problems. So if you have suggestions, put them in there. Like, I have this problem I'm trying to solve. You know, maybe there's a report we can create for that, so you don't have to, right? Same thing, product, you click on it. Product category, you click on it. You can see information about it. This part's really cool. Here, we can see the share within a category. So if you're looking at smartphone cases, or maybe iPhone 5 cases, we can see what their share of sales are in that category. So just a simple chart. Again, you can reuse that, right? So that's standard reports. That's what we're including, and we're building these out too. We want more and more of these over time, so we're adding value, right?
All right. So as I said, we often get asked, how are customers successful with the product? How are they using BI? What are some of the best reports that you see people using? So I'm going to start off with some customer examples of rolling BI through the organization. So 2 specific examples. So thank you to the customers who shared their real life examples to share with you guys today. And then what I'm going to do is move on to a few different examples of reporting in the actual applications, different types of custom reports. We'll just move through those together so that you guys get some suggestions that you can go home with. So first off, in automation and delivery, biggest thing is help me automate that key carrier metrics report, especially when I first launch on the platform. I have these key metrics that I get from my carrier. I want to get those built in the system, sent through the team, and all the way down to the employee level. The system has the ability to automate those columns, get those set up, and as we know now, get the report down all the way to the employee level. I'm going to talk through how this can be used, set up, and delivered. So this report here illustrates kind of the columns that you guys might relate to, even if they're not in the exact naming convention that you might have for your carrier. Blown up, we can see the reports listed by region. The little plus signs indicate that we can drill down and move through the information within the screen. And the highlighted boxes show us that we can move into the information and look at just one region or just one district. We can also change the date range. What these are filters or parameters that allow us to use the report in a meaningful way. These can be included in the reports that you build. They're on our standard reports, and they allow the data to be used in a way that makes sense for the user. So let's take a real example here. Let's say that I'm the Eastern Market Manager. First, I might want to know, how am I doing in relation to the company? And then I can filter the results down after I know how I'm doing in relation to my peers and look at just my market. So this would all happen on the web, on his tablet, even on his phone, or at his desktop if he's at his desk. So just know that this is possible if you have the product today. And this is something that we train on a weekly basis on Thursdays and Fridays. It's also something, if you guys don't want to do this on your own, that our professional services team can plug in and help you guys with. So from here, I can glance over, and oftentimes what you guys would do is use GP or average gross per deal, and you can see where you sit at for your market. So I'm sitting at $216 here. Here's someone I might need to help out because they're sitting a bit lower than the rest of the peers. So then I can glance over across those calculated metrics. So what this is helping you do is isolate where you need to focus, right? So instead of focusing on everything, you focus on just those metrics where you need to focus, right? Just the employees you need to help. Now I'm scrolling over and I can see where in that store may I need to help those employees. Now I click on that location, I see the employees, scroll over and I can see, how are those employees doing? These guys are doing really well. These particular individuals might need some help from the team leads in the store, and you can see exactly where. So, do you guys get an idea here of how this would help every single person just getting the one report built out? Okay, so just know that there's a training class if you miss the carrier building sessions, and this is something you will want to write down, even though I told you not to write anything down. It's on scheduled on Monday the 28th and Monday the 4th. And we'll be recording that and also having some documentation. You guys can attend or have others in your organization attend. It's just really going to be taking you through the steps of doing this process so that you guys can get a tool like this in place. Another example, this is showing automation of a comp plan. I think this is awesome. Some of you guys pay on tiers, right? This is a Sprint example, if anyone here is a Sprint dealer in the room. So this is taking the columns of the quintile report, the TEP, and so on, and it's paying off of percentage of that particular bucket. Now, this isn't just getting visibility into those numbers and creating healthy competition. What it's doing as well is imagine the time it's saving him on payroll. Literally twice a month, he goes to that little I don't have an animation on the screen, but the little export button at the top of the report hits export on the 15th, hits export on the 31st, and the report goes out to his payroll to pay. So his payroll team is saving hours and hours and hours a month, and he's in line with paying off tiers for Sprint. So know that this is possible because you can actually calculate automated statements if in case in these columns, just like you can build basic custom measures. So just showing you guys what's possible here. That's kind of exciting, right? Yeah? Give me a yes. Yay. Okay. Yeah, just know if you guys can do if in Excel, you can do if in here. And then you can have it on your device. Imagine if your reps had this on their device, right? That's kind of awesome. Okay, now on to some more basic stuff. This is a report that Tony and the team built that is in there working now. So if you are on your BI, you have this today. This is a on-hand report. We sometimes look at on-hand reports every day. You could filter this by product to have your on-hand phone report, but what if we chose the manufacturer Samsung? Now we have a report that tells us a report for Samsung, a report for LG. And what if we started to send this report however often to our vendor to say, here's how your phones are doing in my business, LG, Samsung, and so on. Because what's really good is to start patterning your phone launches, new phone launches in relation to previous phones. So as soon as they know how their phones are doing, it helps them understand how the new phones are going to do when they come, right? So that's a good one. A lot of you guys have seen a lot of growth this year, and we talked a lot about that this morning. So it's not always necessary anymore to share everything with everyone. Again, just know that this is possible this report showing us every market, every region, every district. It's also possible for us to restrict to only show us one region. So not only can we control what reports the system shows us when the system opens, we can also say, when this report loads, only show me region 2 because I'm the region 2 manager. So we can control how a report runs. So if you guys need to restrict how the report functions because you have market-only access needs, the system can do that. I just want to point that out because some of you have that need, and that's really important to know. So if you need to do that, you can get in touch with us as well.
And just quickly on that note, it's not only security, it's the way you actually consume the data as well. If you have a whole bunch of data in a report that you're not really concerned about, this is a great way of filtering out all that clutter, right?
Yeah, it filters out the noise. So in addition to giving someone what they need, it makes it easier to digest. So the left tablet shows me open access if I had 3 regions. The right shows me the reports that I would see if it's locked down fortress style to the region 2 manager. And then to Tony's point there, the report then would only show and open for region 2 data because we don't need them to see region 1 and region 2 because maybe region 1 is in New York and region 3 is in LA and I'm actually in the middle of the Midwest. So why would I care about that stuff? I don't. So you can see here it's defaulting to just my market when it loads. I don't have an option on this report to change it. This is something that if you guys missed Asia and Andrew's session, they trained on. We have a handout that we can send you. So this is, again, something to write down if you want that. We can send it to you. And you can just email biteam@IQmetrics. I would like handout. No, I will get that for you. All right. This is also cool. Know that this is possible. You can create a employee-specific report. I don't think that this is necessary in most cases. The system can do this if needed. There's manual setup needed, but you can do it. So here I see Philip has his own commission report. There's manual steps to do this, but the system can do it. Okay. So this is an example of a simple employee dashboard. If you guys want to be able to do something like this is another simple example of kind of what's possible there. Know that you can email outside of your organizations. So a lot of you are using email to send data inside your teams, right, to your inventory manager. You've got that sales report flowing through the organization like we saw at the beginning. But what about sending stuff to your vendors, right? You saw how easy that is. Just think about that as kind of the next step. You could start using our standard reports as a starting place to do that. Okay, so a lot about BI is thinking about only what I need to look at. Like, just like we want to filter out noise when we send a report out, a coupon report is a good example of, I don't want to look at all coupons to look at only the ones that were my problem children. I want to know just those problem children when I send the coupon report out. So coupons is a good example of that. iPhone cash sales is another example of that. So exception-based transaction reporting, we see a lot of people starting to do this. Here I can see my invoice number, the rep who tendered the coupon when he shouldn't have. And I can then send this out to my team, to the DM, and have them follow up on those invoices. So we're seeing people starting to do this. Reports like this is really simple. They save you time. So thanks to the customer that sent this example. This is something you guys can start using in our version right away. Along the same lines as transaction audit reporting. Purchase orders, when we're looking at open purchase orders, we only care about those things that are open. We don't care about all purchase orders for all time. So look at purchase orders that are open. We care about like the committed but not completed purchase orders. And what that tells us are only the open items. So again, we're looking at the process to look at the open items. So when we look at a process, there's always a way to look at whether or not it's done. And if you think about, is the process done or not, and then relate that back to RQ4, your RQ or your system or any system, that's your starting place when you start doing these types of audit reports. So in the case of a purchase order, committed and not yet completed is your starting place. RMA, it's slightly different. You can start going through those processes. What's your trigger point that tells you, is it open or not? This report, the whole thing is based on committed and not yet completed filtering. I can see committed and not yet completed by vendor. I can see it by the product, by the cost, and I can look at it based on a date range. This is really awesome. And then I can start to see the age based on the committed date of the item. It starts tracking an average age. How long has that PO been open? This is really, really useful stuff. And that's,
just FYI, that
Yeah.
this is a new standard report. This is
Yeah.
another one that's included. We didn't have time to highlight it, but really the question we're asking here is, how are my vendors performing, right?
yeah, so
That's
for those of you guys
essentially it.
that do multi-vendor ordering, this will be really useful to see. I hope there's no vendors in here, but to see like, how are my vendors doing on fill times, right? So which is something we need to manage, right? So there you go. All right, so another useful way you can use these reports is this one you currently have, accessory dead stock. How many of you guys actually serialize your accessories? Put your hand up. 1. Perfect. Exactly. That's why we built this report. Okay, so this will help you manage the aging of your accessories if you don't serialize accessory product. And the reason is it tracks, just like the PO report, based on the receiving date of the product. And it says it's been received but not yet sold into inventory, sold yet. So it's been received, it's in my store, but it hasn't moved. Start tracking days and reflect that value based on cost.
And this report's built.
Yeah,
It's in there.
that's awesome, right? That's something you guys don't have. Yeah. Sorry, yeah, clap, it's Tuesday, I'm almost out of here. Yeah, no, I'm just joking. Yeah, so, no, but that's really useful, right? So you guys know your costing based on accessory. How you can use this is your cost gets assigned to a bucket, and it'll start moving along based on your age. Now, a customer suggestion on the top here, you guys can see, we released this in beta, and the guy was like, well, this is really useful, but there's a lot of us that don't keep up on our accessory stock. We have so many accessories. So you can filter based on the cost range in days, based on end of life, based on stock after a number of days. So keeping up on like whether or not you've written off your accessory products is hard. It's also hard because of sales orders. So just know that you can filter to kind of only look at a range, so you don't have to worry about that, and that's all taken into account on this report. We track our performance through the month, and at the end of the month, let's say that me as a rep, I end up at 87%. So I've in theory left 13% of my own paycheck on the table, right? What if you took that 13% and you reflected it back towards me on a daily basis? And you said, how much is that 13% to you, Sarah, tomorrow, the next day, the next day, the next day, and you started reflecting my daily target to me every day based on my commission earnings, based on the activations I needed to sell. So what these customers are doing that are applying that method is they're doing daily goals and they're doing daily goal bump. So the 3 components of this are daily goal to hit best, percentage increase, and just reflecting the daily goal. So the daily goal can change as the month goes on. Tomorrow, my daily goal might be, 4 days ago, it might have been that day, and then it advances as the month goes on. This is a really good way to increase performance, but the way that it works is if you make it relevant to the rep, because you can't just tell them to sell more, right? You have to be like, you'll earn more commission if you do these activities. So you have to make the activity part of whatever report you make. Here I just showed you the value so that you can get the concept. This can be applied as well to your reporting. What's your best traffic day, as an example, right? Does that make sense as a suggestion? You guys could apply best day to so many of your reports. If you guys want to talk about that after, we can talk to you about that. It's been really effective for lots of people. I've seen that happen for a few people this year. Visualizations, this is an example of that report redone in a visual way. So it's essentially that same report in the beginning, changed around into a visual picture. For the data people in the room, this is the data set that feeds that report. So it's not a far cry from what we saw in the beginning.
Just a note on that last bit there, you guys can build stuff like that. Even if you're creative, even the dashboards that we're including, like the standard reports, you guys can build that, right? Because it's a WYSIWYG designer, what you see is what you get. So for instance, that visualization we saw in there, that can just be pulled in. So we are creating these things for you. You guys can get creative. It doesn't have to be a table anymore, right?
All right. So some of you guys in the room are actively building a lot of technical things. I'm going to touch on some cube additions. Mahesh in the keynote mentioned our PAW Cube. Essentially, yeah, that's my attempt at really fancy slides. All right, so what this is going to tell you is your most profitable activations, your top performing plans. Am I selling what's most profitable, and am I discounting? And the reason why is we've taken everything that flows through the PAW, and we've created a way that you guys can auto-compute the average PAW profit that flows through the PAW. Another way to explain that really simply is you guys rely on the vendor rebate report, right? To say, what's the relationship or the link between the PAW, the term, and the plan? But in an ideal way, you'd have a way to do the analysis between those three things on an ongoing basis in a really simple way. It's essentially what the PAW Cube does. So it's a way for you to do analytics based on the relationship between the PAW, term, and plan. We also incorporate those items that have been sold through the PAW, meaning accessories, features, warranty. Let's say I sell a phone. And I also include an accessory and a feature in that PAW transaction. That's also part of our PAW design. This is huge. What this means is you'll be able to compute average PAW profit on the S4 versus average PAW profit on the iPhone 5. We can also do, am I discounting in the PAW? I'm going to show you guys how this works. We'll be doing training on this when you guys get the version launch. The thing about this is we've had this in our data warehouse for a while, but it wasn't a standalone feature and it wasn't as functionally easy as you guys needed. So we took feedback from you guys and made it easier to use. You're going to access it from the cube here. You can also access this from within Excel, as Mahesh showed the keynote. You can click the query designer here. For those of you that are familiar with the data, you can choose the PAW measure group, which means it's its own standalone measure set now. This means this is going to be really simple to use. blow those measures up so you guys can see. The highlights here are a count of the activations that are sold. What this means is, did I sell more activations or upgrades in the PAW? How many prepaid transactions did I do? We're using the term type in relation to the hardware. Average PAW profit is computed by PAW profit divided by PAW quantity. We also track the discounting that happens in the PAW. Because the PAW quantity is there, we can say PAW discounting divided by PAW quantity to tell me what's my average PAW discounting. This is going to be amazing. This is exactly what you guys need to be able to stay on top of what's happening around your phones. You're going to be able to do things like, what are my top rate plans? Am I selling the new plans? What are my top phones I'm selling in the month? All of the questions that we need answered this right now, you guys will be able to answer. I don't have a lot of time to go through the details. Just know that this is potentially one of the most exciting things that we've released in a while from the data side of things. Biggest feedback we got from those of you that were using this is we did not have a way to group by category. So what that meant is if you wanted to group by plan or group by hardware to, for instance, answer the question of, in my iPhones, am I selling more iPhone 4s or iPhone 5s? And of those, which plan are they selling on? There was no way to group. So you can see the screen here. We added categorization in the cube for hardware and plan. This is a big deal because it's going to mean you can move through your categories in a drill-through way, just like you did in your example in the beginning there when we moved through our locations to figure out what location is selling the most. We can answer the question, what phone is selling the most, then move on to address the question of what plan is selling the most. You can see we added the term type, so here we've built a report that's telling us what's my new percentage.
You guys probably know this, but PAW is the phone activation wizard. Right?
Yeah, Tony learned that for this presentation, so.
Oh, thanks.
Anyway, so here's just a really simple report that we threw together. You guys are looking at this going, that's not a simple report, but it actually is a simple report with the design. This is all drag and drop and something that you guys can learn to do because the cube design is this easy. I'm going to walk you through this. This is just a top count of rate plans with the second column of average profit that will compute for you. That's awesome. Then I have top handset. Same thing, the quantity and the average profit of those phones. So what this is telling you guys is, what's my average profit of phones that sold with that rate plan and term type in the range? That's pretty awesome, right? So you don't have to do this anymore manually. Yeah. It's okay, you don't have to clap, it's just, but yeah, that's pretty cool. And then down here, let me go back a second. You can see, just like that drill down report before, the columns are region, district, store, employee, product, quantity, profit per line, new percentage discount per line. And then I can start to drill down, and I can even go all the way to the employee level. See how this will work? To see who's discounting the most, who has the highest profit per line. So these types of reports are going to be possible by product, by phone. So linking together that details of PAW, term, and plan, PAW, hardware, term, plan, employee, when we're thinking about what really is performing the best, is now automated. This is a big deal. So I'm really looking forward to you guys being able to have this feature in your hands. And this will be available in Excel, which takes me almost to the next feature. I'm going to touch on two more things. Inventory attributes and product attributes. This was touched on in the other sessions. The team went through and scrubbed every single attribute of product and inventory and added those to the data warehouse. So some of you guys have been asking us for things like, is the product serialized or not? What's the warranty length of the product? Can you please add the MRC, the default retail price to the cube? Things like that. So everything's been added, and you guys can see it in the list. This will be available when the version launches. I'm going to glaze over this, but we added that other level to RQ4. These are available in the data warehouse as well. If you guys want more details on this, ask the team. we can help you with enabling this in the database and also teaching you how to use the data. So that takes me to the next point, Excel. You'll be able to connect through Excel. This is going to be good for ad hoc report requests. It's going to be good for joining in external data. It's going to expand the reach of report writing to the teams, DMs, regional managers. If you guys have bigger organizations and you want that, that's going to be possible. Show you how easy this is going to be. Once we give you the connection, you're going to connect from the data tab, from other sources to analysis services, and you're going to use the exact same credentials that you use for your current BI. So you guys all know Excel and you know how to use pivot tables. There's no training. The cube literally populates for you. I'm not going to go into showing you how this works today, just to show you that those custom calculations that you're used to will populate in a tab that's new to Excel 2013 called Analyze. So if you want to build those custom calculations, you're going to need 2013. If you want to do custom calculations like this, if you want to just connect to the cube and use the data, you will be able to use other versions of Excel. This is an example of a very simple completed report that does the ability to drill down, connecting from the data. We filtered by day. Here's a more complex report that's doing the same type of thing. I just kind of rebuilt what we saw a second ago. You guys can just visually see activation count, just so you guys can get a taste of this is what's possible for you to build in Excel. If you think Excel might be an easier tool for you, this is what you have to look forward to. It's pretty awesome. I'm going to turn things back over to Tony here.
I'll be really quick, guys, because I know you saw this at the keynote, but I'll go into a little bit more detail. Basically, we'll talk about the product library. It's essentially it's imminent, so it's coming. So we're going to show you what you'll be able to do in the future, or very near future. So what is the product library? Essentially, it contains a whole bunch of content about products, right? So if you actually pull a product into your inventory using the product library, you get a whole bunch of stuff with it that you can use. So these are attributes of products. So stuff like color, images, descriptions, all kind of meta are actually attached to that product. So when you report on it, you get a whole bunch of more information. So an example is a report like this, and we've actually built this out. So when it actually goes, when the product library actually goes live, this will be available. At the top, again, because devices can be tagged by attributes, we can actually tag things like OS to a phone. So we can do reporting like this, and we have this running. So we have Android, iOS. We can show the quantity sold, the amount of money you've made from it, and actually break it down by device. So we can do this kind of stuff. So it's not just tables anymore. We can bring in imagery again. So because attributes live up there in the product library, we can bring that rich content in. So it's not just a table of names. We can actually scan by image now. So it makes things really jump off the page. So that's really great for design. And I love this, probably because I'm a geek, but you can report on color. So maybe there's a trend for purple cases or something. You can see that now, right? So it's not a guess. You can see with quantitative data that purple phone cases are selling. So you may want to order more. You can watch that trend, right? And we can do this. We can show the relationship. So we can have a stack of manufacturers here, break it down by product, the amount of money and profit we're making for each, and then the actual attachments that go along with that as well. So everything can be connected together. So this area over on the right there, cases, cables, and hands-free products are selling with the Galaxy Ace 2. And then we can actually click on that and get a list of all of the accessories that are selling. And the second report is more comparative. So again, we run a product. We see sales data, and there's our maps there. That's how you can use maps within this product, and how it's selling compared to its peers. We can actually put trending graphs. So you can see in one table how everything connects together. So I'm going to run smartphones. How are my smartphones doing? There it is, right there. We run it. And then again, this little icon there, you click on it, and it opens up that product report we saw before. So we're connecting it all together. So that's it, really. Thanks, guys.